Hello, Mom. Happy Saturday, Sunday, whatever day it is. How's your day going? What are you doing?
Hey, what's up? Madison here with Real Social Dynamics in Hong Kong. Talking to you today about the idea that you can be a 10. You don't have to look like a 10, be handsome to be a 10. You can actually be a 10 for girls. Talk about what it means to be a cute guy. I got some notes here. So what does it mean to be a cute guy? A guy that's cute is a guy who does not filter himself. He's free. He expresses himself. You might hear the expression girls say, he's one of the boys. He's just doing his things. He has selfish boundaries. He respects himself, and also he lets others enjoy that along with him. So you might think to yourself, well, I'm not physically attractive. The good news is that women don't view men just based on physical attractiveness. You can be hot by your energy. So in essence, you can be a 7 and enhance your energy to be a 10. You can be a 6 and become a 10 because women are not judging you by the way that you look. It's not how we judge them by how their appearance is, and then we grade them on that. It's completely different. So there's so much opportunity out there that you have no idea. And it's great that the game is rigged like this. There's cheat codes that you can use to become way more attractive. So this is it. Perfect. Here we go. Crack into it. Get ready. You don't have to be hot, right? That's the whole point of this video. You don't have to be Brad Pitt or, I don't know, who, Taylor Lautner, or who's hot these days, Channing Tatum, or whoever the fuck is popular. You don't have to be any of these guys. We're so fortunate that women work on a different paradigm. Women work on the paradigm of the emotions that you give her. If you make her feel a certain way, you inspire emotion in her, she then has attraction towards you. It doesn't even go that clear, to be honest. Actually, it's a little more confusing than that. For women, she just goes, wow, I feel something in the situation, right? It's like a roller coaster. I go on a roller coaster, I feel something. I go watch a scary movie, I feel something. She just knows when emotions arouse within her. So she has emotions. She doesn't automatically go, now I'm interested in this thing. Like, I'm interested in horror movies. It takes a while to get there, right? What happens is, the next step, she goes, this is interesting to me. Or it's interesting. You are interesting. And he goes, this guy's interesting. So she wants to be around this guy who's more interesting. All of a sudden, she's around him, becomes familiar with him, and that guy becomes attracted. She's attracted to that guy. Now, he doesn't have to be physically attractive, so you're very fortunate. There's so much opportunity there, right? Imagine how much that flips your world upside down, knowing that you don't have to be typically handsome. You just have to be able to inspire, and arouse emotions inside of a woman, which is incredible. Changes the game. It's cheat codes to this shit. Now, all of a sudden, you're a 7, but you're not just a regular 7, you're a 7 who is a 10, right? You can be very, very unattractive and be more attractive. You can bump yourself up from a 3 to an 8 or whatever the situation is, right? There's someone out there for everybody as long as you know how to inspire emotions in that person, which is a huge relief for me because back in the day, I wanted to be hot. I didn't grow up typically attractive. You know, we'll throw the picture in here that everybody's seen a million times. I was a big nerd. You know, people called me Steve Urkel. My legs grew very fast. They called me Daddy Long Legs. My legs grew faster than the rest of my body. I just wasn't that no girl was physically like, yeah, that guy, like he's the shit. Like, it just didn't happen, right? So I even had this book. I got the Personal Power CD by Tony Robbins when I was 14 years old. I begged my mom to get it. She gives me the CDs and he says, believe it or not, he says, write down your goals. And one of my goals was to be a hunk. That's what I wrote in capital letters, quote unquote, hunk, H-U-N-K. Now, I'm kind of dating myself here by telling you about the word hunk, right? It's like not even like a cool word to use. But back in the day, it was cool, man. So I wanted to be this hunk. And imagine my relief when I found this techniques, the self-development stuff, the higher value communications is what I'm teaching you here in all these grown-ass man videos and Get Your 10 videos. Higher value communication. All this stuff showed me that I didn't have to be physically attractive, right? Which is a huge relief on my shoulders. Now, let me ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, let's be honest, it's just me and you sitting here, right? And you're watching this in the privacy of your own home, or you're on a subway with earbuds on. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how attractive are you, bro? Like, no lie, no homo, like, just be honest with yourself. Physically attractive, how much do you think you are on that scale, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being minus attractive, less than attractive, 5 being average, and 10 being like, you're just, you know, you're, I don't know, who's that guy, man? Zac Efron, or whoever one of these dudes are from like these boy bands. You're that guy, okay? What do you rate yourself in that scale? Now, myself, personally, I thought it was about a 7. You know, there's things I would change, things I didn't like. You know, like girls weren't staring at me as I walked down the street, or like I'm in a club and I make eye contact with a girl. It wasn't enough for her to just, me looking at her wasn't enough for her to just look at me back and like walk over to me or smile at me. Like I would smile at girls walking down the street, they would never smile back, you know? Like, so it's just like, I was like, I'm a 7. I'm normal, I'm average. So imagine when I found this out, right? That I can inspire a girl's emotions to be a 10 to her and to be hot to her, and the way I express myself, carry myself, have boundaries, standards, inspire emotions in her, the way I don't judge my personal self. All this told me, wow, I can now be a 10 for a girl. I'm a 10 for some girl out there if I can get this right. That was just mind-blowing. So let's get into this debate of, do looks matter? Do looks matter? I have a friend of mine. He's my wingman. Sometimes we go out and he gets all the girls. He's so handsome. Do looks matter? Now, besides the fact that you're judging yourself, you're comparing yourself to somebody else, and you know, blah, blah, blah. Let's not even get into that. Do looks matter? I'll tell you, yeah, they matter. In a way that if a dude's physically attractive, it helps. It helps. It gets in the open door. It gets him basically the first 30 seconds if he's attractive. But then if he doesn't inspire emotions in the girl after that 30 seconds, guess what happens? She's like, ugh, gross. I thought you would have all these amazing qualities because you're handsome, but really you're just selfish, or you're like self-doubting. And I can't stand it. It's gross. Ew, get him away from me. Get him away. He's so needy. Get him away from me. And then like all of a sudden, she like hates that guy even more. Right? So like if a guy's like a 9, let's say in physical attractiveness, and he gets the girl for the first 30 seconds and he fucks it up, it's like after that he's like -10. Like it's even worse. Versus a guy like you and me, right? If we're like a 7 and we go up to a girl and we inspire attractiveness in her, or we get the first 30 seconds, it's kind of rocky, but after that we can only go up. There's so much upside for us. So do looks matter? Kinda. They kinda matter, but in a way they fucking don't. Because also, if you inspire emotions in the girl, you can get her aroused, you can make her feel good, you can be the guy that she wants to be as a 10, her version of a 10, right? Then looks don't matter. Think of it. Think back to every hot girl that you maybe gotten with. Every hot girl. Or even think back to, let's say if you have a friend that's very, very super hot, like is incredibly attractive, think back to that girl, okay, the 10. And I want you to think of the guys that she's dated. Now, there are gonna be some guys who are super attractive, right? Just physically attractive, jack dudes, like they call them bears or whatever, right? I mean, some guys like that. But also, there's a few scrubs in there. And you know the scruffy scrubs that I'm talking about. It's a few guys that are in there. You're like, oh, that guy? Ugh. When you hear about that guy, when you think back to that guy, that scruffy guy that she got with, whether he was like the busboy at a restaurant, or like, I don't know, he just did a lot of weed, but like sit on the couch all day and like did nothing else, or like you're just some kind of like weird artistic dude. And you're like, oh, that guy, like his clothes look like they haven't been washed in weeks. Think back to that guy. You're like, almost when you think of that guy, it almost ruins your perfect imagination of how this 10 should be, right? You're like, oh, she's a 10. And then she gets with that guy, you're like, oh, you're kind of grossed out by it a little bit. Now, it's funny because there's some 10s that are girls that actually think that they're 7s, which is a whole nother story. But those girls that are 10s that think that they're 7s, they're getting the guy that they're just attracted to, the guy that inspires emotions in them. So you don't have to be physically attractive to inspire emotions in a girl and to be her 10. That's the whole point. The thing is, the girls don't understand who they're attracted to. Like I said before, they just go, who makes me feel good around him? And then whoever inspires emotions around me, that guy is now interesting. He goes in an interesting box. He's an interesting person. I'm curious, who is that guy? He's interesting. If you ask the girl, do you like him? You're like, no. She just finds him interesting. Then eventually over time, she's like, yes, I like him. All right. They don't even know who they're attracted to. You could ask your girl, who do you like? Oh, that guy's hot. She'll pick up this guy like out of a magazine and then say like, who are the past 5 guys you dated? And there's Mr. Scruffy over there. You're like, oh, okay. They don't even know who they're attracted to, right? There's guys that are typically not handsome or very attractive and they still do well late, right? Jack Nicholson, for example, the actor, old dude, but he has that voice and that presence. You know what I'm saying? He's got like that energy about him, the way he carries himself at his own rhythm. You got Vince Vaughn, who's just like a hilarious dude. You know, he's not like, he's not as attractive as, let's say, his other co-stars, let's say, or like Tom Cruise or whatever, but Vince Vaughn has his own thing about him, right? Just kind of makes him interesting. He's like, oh, he's an interesting dude. Like, I'd like to hang out with that guy. And that leads to attraction. You can also think of Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp sometimes is just bizarre appearance, just totally bizarre, you know, tattooed, ringed up, and just like stammering sometimes and doing all kinds of wild stuff. But he's just one of the boys being boys. So the women find that attractive about him, right? What I want you to do right now, take a minute, just pause the video for a second if you want. Come up with 5 guys besides the ones that I mentioned that are not typically handsome dudes that do really well with the ladies. And think about, what is it about these guys that I want to have, that I want to emulate and learn from? So let's cap it off here with a list of things that make a guy attractive, right? Keep these in mind. The first one is swagger, just the way that he carries himself. Does he have his own rhythm? Does he do things at his own speed? Is he kind of just his own man? Does he walk into a room and the room is all like high, happy, fun energy? He just takes his time, goes to the bar, cleans the counter, gets his drink at his own speed, gets like a whiskey, walks around with it, rolls it around a little bit, smells it just for the fun of it. He walks up to a girl really slowly and says, hey, are you a whiskey girl? Right? He's got this swagger about him. And every guy needs to have his own swagger. If you don't have it, swagger jacket from me or from somebody else. Another one is his clarity of intent. That is his intention in that moment. Everybody has an intention, but sometimes they get blocked down by other negative thoughts that bother us and get in our head and distract us. So your intention might be to hug somebody, but if you're trying to hug them and your intention's blocked, it kind of comes out this like weird, like twitchy hug, like flinching hug. If your intent was clear, be nice and smooth, right? Every guy's good with girls has that clear clarity of intent. Next one, entitlement. So this is an interesting one. Being able to be yourself around the girl you're attracted to. That is what entitlement is. So you might think of yourself as being able to, like, let's say, go to a girl who's a 6. By 6, I don't judge a woman. I'm just saying in terms of social education, emotional intelligence, maybe physique as well. Go to a girl who's a 6 at that level and you're comfortable around her. You're able to be yourself around her. You're able to have a clear clarity of intent around that 6. And then you go to a girl who's like your dream girl, who's like the 9, right? By the 9, I mean like she maybe is a immigration lawyer, volunteers at a veterinary hospital on the weekend, good around kids, nurturing vibe. I don't know. And she like goes to the gym and something, right? So it's like you're 9. You go around your 9, and all of a sudden you're like, you freeze up and you're getting tense. So what that means is that your entitlement is at 9 because your clarity of intent is not there for a 9. Does that make sense? It's getting blocked at a 9. Your entitlement is caps off at how clear you can be. So what I try to do, one of the things that I really embrace is going up to the most attractive girl possible and just keeping a clear, flowing clarity of intent. Because not a lot of guys can do that. Most guys can, unless there's alcohol. Then they have alcohol, and that helps them have a clear intent. But if you can just have a clear intent right now, I'm talking to the camera with no distractions, sets you apart from every other guy. I can be distracted by the air fan over there, or if the cleaning lady is going to come in, or what time I got to pack, open this stuff up and go to my flight. But I'm not. I have one clear intent. That is resonating with the camera right now, speaking to you one-on-one in this conversation, this communication. And that's my intent. You understand? Very clear. So what I'm trying to do here in this video series is plant the idea of what's available to you, give you the options so you can make a choice. Because that's what we all want as dudes. We want options, right? And up until now, you didn't know that 10s were available to you. You had misconceptions about how to get them and the opportunity of where they were and who you had to be. So now we've clarified that and we planted the seeds in your mind. And continue to watch this video series because I'm going to continue to do that with you.